The battle has raged for hours, the air thick with dust and blood. The remaining leaders of the Orthodox Alliance sense a shift in the momentum. Flags flutter in the chaotic winds of Kai as the besieging forces tighten their circle, believing the end is near. Casualties are catastrophic, bodies piling up like mountains, yet the key figures of the Alliance press forward over the corpses of their fallen comrades. A female master lunges with desperation, her blade seeking an opening, but the pressure of the battlefield is suffocating. 3 titans of the Murim stand ready, the Shaolin Abbot, the ManhWa sect leader, and the Namgun Patriarch. They are the peak of power, united by a single goal. Their target is a solitary figure, exhausted and battered, but still radiating a terrifying aura that keeps them on edge. The Abbot, Hien Jinshin, declares that the enemy is finally exhausted, signaling the moment to strike is now. His command echoes through the valley. He must be killed right now. The order is absolute. A dark, red energy begins to swirl around the target, a defiant last stand brewing in the face of inevitable death. The divine demon, Jianshin, looks up. Despite the odds, his eyes burn with power as he realizes that only the strongest remain to face him. With a roar that shakes the earth, the Shaolin Abbot launches himself forward, unleashing the full might of the Buddhist arts. He strikes with the asterisk Heavenly Buddha Palm asterisk, a technique meant to purify evil. But Jianshin meets the holy light with his own dark energy. Green energy explodes outward, shattering the ground as the 2 immense forces collide in a shockwave of destruction. Jianshin spins through the air, dodging the lethal force, his movements fluid despite his injuries. He counters instantly, his blade cutting through the abbot's pressure, aiming for the throat. The divine demon descends like a hawk, his sword poised to decapitate the monk in a single motion. Suddenly, a massive boot intercepts him. Another master steps in to block the fatal blow, saving the abbot. "I will kill you first," shouts the attacker, his blade glowing red with killing intent as he engages the demon. Sparks fly as weapons clash. The remaining alliance members look on in horror, asking what is happening amidst the chaotic exchange. Jianshin unleashes a wave of blue lightning, forcing them back. He screams, "Now is the time," turning the defense into a ruthless offense. The battle intensifies. Blades move faster than the eye can see, creating a storm of steel and sparks. The ManhWa sect leader enters the fray, his sword blooming with green energy as he tries to overwhelm the demon. Plum Blossom Flash Strike. The technique is beautiful but deadly, aimed squarely at Jianshin's vitals. Jianshin responds with a Thunder Rolling Strike, a violent counter that shreds the delicate Plum Blossom Kai. "Die!" screams the attacker, pouring every ounce of his internal energy into a beam of blue light. The beam cuts through the battlefield, tearing up the earth, but Jianshin deflects it with a savage grin. Jianshin is pushed back, blood spraying from his mouth, but his grip on his sword never wavers. A massive green shockwave erupts as another heavy blow lands, the impact cratering the stone floor beneath them. The Shaolin Abbot, seizing the opening, brings his staff down with a prayer, "May you be reborn in paradise." Jianshin blocks the massive blade of the Namgun Patriarch, the sheer weight of the attack threatening to crush him. Red lightning crackles around Jianshin's hand as he grabs the incoming blade with his bare fingers, shocking his opponent. Dark energy explodes from his grip, shattering the weapon and sending a shockwave of fear through the attackers. The sky darkens as the demonic energy swirls, creating a vortex that swallows the light of the sun. Jianshin moves like a phantom, bypassing their defenses and striking with brutal efficiency. He rips a man's head clean off, holding the trophy aloft as blood rains down on the terrified onlookers. The faces of the surviving masters twist in pure terror. They realize too late that they are not fighting a man, but a beast. A monster, one stammers, retreating as the shadow of the divine demon looms over him. Jianshin descends from the sky, surrounded by a dark red aura, looking like a deity of war. Blue lightning arcs from his body, striking down the soldiers who try to flee. "Fall back!" screams a commander, but there is no escape. Jianshin grabs the old master by the face, slamming him into the attack with a visceral crunch. The narration reflects on the tragedy. To stop this one man, the entire Central Plains had to be drenched in blood. Jianshin, the divine demon, stands amidst the carnage, his silhouette terrifying against the burning backdrop. The greatest martial masters of the age gathered to stop him. Their combined might theoretically enough to topple empires. Yet, facing the one whose strength was deemed the greatest under the heavens, their confidence shattered. Their grand alliance was driven to the absolute brink of collapse by a single sword. Jianshin taunts the ManhWa leader, "Hey old man, did you prepare your gravesite?" The old man grits his teeth, his sword glowing pink. "Of course! It's ready, it's your grave!" They clash again, The asterisk plum blossom rain asterisk technique fills the air with deadly, petal-like energy shards. Jianshin weaves through the beautiful storm, his dark robes fluttering as he closes the distance. He slashes through the illusion, his dark energy devouring the pink blossoms, moving in for the kill. The Namgoon Patriarch intercepts, his sword heavy with killing intent. Not yet! For a split second, a flashback of a peaceful spring day flickers a stark contrast to the hellish reality. Jianshin's eyes glow red. He ignores the memory, focusing only on the enemy in front of him. Black Dragon Execution. The Namgoon technique unleashes a chaotic storm of red and black energy. Jianshin meets it head-on, his body battered but his spirit unbroken, slicing through the explosion. He screams in pain as a blade finds its mark, cutting deep into his shoulder. Jianshin retaliates with the Infinite Emperor Sword art, sending streaks of blue light slashing in every direction. Blue beams cut the air into ribbons, creating an inescapable net of destruction. The Patriarch is caught in the web, his defenses crumbling under the barrage of light-speed attacks. Jianshin grimaces, blood pouring from his wounds. Damn rat of the Namgoon clan, that hurts like hell. A fleeting memory surfaces, warm embraces, laughter. It distracts him for a fraction of a second. The enemy seizes the moment, shouting what? As Jianshin suddenly shifts his stance. Jianshin lunges, grabbing the Patriarch's sword with his bare hand to stop the momentum. The blade cuts into his palm, blood spraying, but he refuses to let go, locking the opponent in place. With a savage twist, he snaps the sword and drives his own energy into the Patriarch's chest. Jianshin! The man screams, realizing his death is imminent. Jianshin's face is a mask of fury and pain. You filthy demonic bastard! The dying man curses. With a sickening crunch, Jianshin crushes his opponent, ending the Namgoon Patriarch's life. The body falls, lifeless, as Jianshin stands panting, his vision blurring. He stumbles, the exhaustion finally catching up to him, but the battle isn't over yet. Blue lightning rains down from the sky, striking him repeatedly. The remaining enemies are relentless. He dodges and weaves, but his movements are slowing. The lightning sears his flesh. Multiple beams of energy pierce his body. He is being overwhelmed by sheer numbers and magical prowess. A final, massive bolt strikes him from above, engulfing him in blinding light. He is thrown back, crashing into the ground, his body smoking and broken. "I already!" Someone screams. A spear plunges into his chest. That stubborn life of yours ends here. An attacker gloats, driving the weapon deeper. As death approaches, his vision shifts. He sees a warm light, lantern festivals, and smiling faces. It's getting clearer. The vision of a family holding lanterns becomes vivid. "Let's finish it," he whispers to himself, or perhaps to the vision. With a final burst of strength, he roars, "Finish it," and swings his sword one last time, decapitating the man impaling him. The battlefield falls silent. The divine demon stands amidst a sea of corpses, panting heavily. He has cut down the man who drenched the plains in blood. He has annihilated the alliance. The survivors look on in disbelief, facing the one they stammer, unable to comprehend the victory. Jianshin stands alone, his body pierced by multiple weapons, surrounded by the ruin he created. But even then the narration continues, highlighting the sheer absurdity of his strength. The alliance was driven to collapse. He killed them all. Every single one. How? A dying voice asks. I pierced his heart. How is he still? Could it be that he truly surpassed the limits of man? The fear lingers even in death. The divine demon, Jianshin. He stands victorious, but fatally wounded. Annihilated. He whispers the word, looking at the destruction. "Manhwa, was this good enough?" Flashbacks begin to flood his dying mind. A sword dripping blood. Arrogant bastard. Screams at memory. He remembers walking away from a defeated foe. How dare you act up? The arrogance of his youth. A hand reaching out to the sun. A memory of striving for something unreachable. He sees himself as a young man, fighting two others. "You're pretty good at fighting," they say. The memories swirl. So this is my life flashing before my eyes. He realizes the end has truly come. Been a while since I've seen it. Master's young face. He sees his old teacher training him. Right, my time in the museum began here. He watches his younger self practicing sword swings in the rain. It all started as brawls for survival, wandering without a home. A lonely figure in a straw hat sits in the rain. Relying only on a single sword, he sees himself cutting down enemies, the splash of blood vivid against the gray memory. Endless, meaningless slaughter. Could such a life have meaning? He questions the path he walked as he looks at a mountain of bodies. He remembers a woman, smiling warmly. "I, too, clash daily in the market, arguing with people," she says. Continues, in this world, you must treat everyone as an enemy if you want to survive long. A philosophy he understood well. She talks about her siblings. Soothing their endless complaints about food is exhausting, but in those moments, they're the most precious. He sees her hugging two sleeping children. When I lost my parents and collapsed, they gave meaning to my life again. Her words echo in his mind. She asks him, how about you also find a meaning for your life? A tear falls from the dying demon's eye. I wanted to live with you all. A confession made too late. The sword I raised again for vengeance. He sees the moment he chose the path of blood over her. A life drifting by without roots. Where was the meaning of my life? He sees himself walking away from her warmth. For someone like me, who only knew how to kill, you gave me a reason to live. He smiles at the memory of her face. He remembers his reflection, scarred and weary. It was already here all along. A silhouette of him reuniting with her and a child in the afterlife. No, it's just a wish. Though my sword dulled and my body, he stands in the sunset, looking at peace. I lowered the sword in my hand. The legendary killer finally stops fighting. Here lies the divine demon, Jiangchen. The sun sets on his era. Darkness takes him. Suddenly noise. What nonsense is this, barging in like this? A loud voice wakes him up. Do you think I'd sell my clan's martial arts for a few coins? The screaming is shrill and annoying. Jiangchen's eyes snap open. They are glowing red. What a rat. He looks around, confused. So this is hell. He assumes he is being punished in the afterlife. But the scene in front of him is a domestic dispute. A woman in red argues with men in robes. Since your elder brother suffered an unfortunate accident, the men are trying to steal a legacy. I will have my son inherit the Flame HWA clan's secret martial arts. Jiangchen, now in a young body, stares blankly. What's going on? He looks at his hands. Is this not hell? A young boy shouts. No, my elder brother is still alive and well, defending the person Jiangchen now inhabits. Two children, a boy and a girl, stand protectively in front of him. How could the clan's arts be given to outsiders? They scream. The children look back at him, worried. Are these people? Jiangchen realizes these are his new family. Steps forward, the aura of the divine demon leaking out. Fine, let me make a proposal. The courtyard goes silent. He raises 3 fingers. Then you and I will duel for it. The confidence in his voice is absolute. He smirks, looking down at them with the eyes of a predator. Winner takes everything. I'm the divine demon, Jiangchen. The courtyard falls silent as the newly awakened protagonist declares his identity, Jiangchen. The world seems to call me the divine demon. The statement hangs in the air, met not with fear, but with ridicule. Divine demon? That's not even funny, sneers the man opposite him. The man, Qingdobo, mocks him openly. Why not just call yourself the king of the underworld instead? He assumes the madness has consumed the eldest son. The narration introduces the antagonist, Qingdobo, the second son of the powerful Qinghua merchant group, looking down on the fallen clan with disdain. A woman beside him, Su Choyan, chimes in with false sympathy. Dusk. With the eldest son in this state, the fate of the Flame HWA clan is already sealed. She advises him to give up the clan, claiming she speaks out of blood ties and sentiment, though her eyes are cold and calculating. Jiangchen, currently inhabiting HWA Mugen's body, ignores their mockery. I will take your silence as acceptance of the duel, he states calmly. He sets the terms clearly. The duel will be held at the Byung Pavilion on the 5th day of the 2nd month. As the visitors turn to leave, Jiangchen issues a final warning about the consequences of breaking this agreement, his voice carrying an eerie authority. The visitors depart, muttering about the absurdity of a madman calling himself the divine demon, leaving the clan members in shock. The moment they are gone, the younger siblings confront him. What are you going to do? The little girl stammers, terrified. She points out the obvious flaw in his plan. You've never even swung a sword properly before. Jiangchen finds the comment amusing. Never swung a sword, you say? He prepares to show them a glimpse of his power. Considering the beginner's level, he attempts to channel a burst of internal energy to intimidate them and prove his strength. But nothing happens. It's bum. He is genuinely shocked to find his danshin completely empty. Why don't I have an ounce of inner energy? He realizes with horror that this body is not just weak, it is utterly frail. The girl, HWA Soyin, begs him to stop. Brother, I'm begging you, come to your senses. She believes his madness is flaring up again. The younger brother tries to defend him, but Soyin snaps. What kind of fool would just sit and take that quietly? Her frustration boils over into a scream. It's all your fault that mother and father are dead. She runs off, tears streaming down her face. A loyal retainer steps in to defuse the situation, apologizing to Jiangchen and explaining that the girl often loses herself in grief. Left alone, Jiangchen reflects on the absurdity of his situation. Even the children treat me like a madman. This is absurd. He looks at his hands, recalling his final moments in his previous life. I clearly cut through the Namgoon clan patriarch's head. He remembers the physical sensation of death, his heart being pierced, his breath failing him. He had fulfilled his vengeance for Yeonhwa and her siblings, content to fade into the afterlife. I should have closed my eyes peacefully. Now I'm inside this body. The transition from a legendary warrior to a cripple baffles him. He wonders about the children who resemble his past loves, Seok and Young. How did this happen? The retainer, Ma Sok, approaches him with a concerned look. You've gone out again with your frail body? Do you have any idea how worried I've been? Jiangchen asks, who are you? You seem to know me, prompting Ma Sok to sigh heavily. Ma Sok assumes it's amnesia caused by the madness. Another seizure? All right, allow me to explain once again. He reveals the history of the body Jiangchen inhabits. Hwa Mujin was once a martial arts genius, coveted by countless orthodox sects. Ma Sok begins the story of the tragedy that occurred 17 years ago, a tale he has told over 6,000 times. The scene shifts to a flashback. A young Hwa Mujin and a Yanqing Dobo stand in a forest clearing. Let us duel with fairness today, Dobo. Without inner energy, the young Mujin proposes a friendly spar. Shingdobo agrees with a smile, sure. Without inner energy, fair and square. But his eyes hide a dark intent. The fight begins. It is supposed to be a test of pure skill, child against child. Mujin, true to his reputation as a genius, blocks every single strike Dobo throws at him. As expected of Dobo, Mujin praises his friend, unaware of the jealousy brewing beneath the surface. Dobo's face twists. You really are the promising genius admired by the orthodox sects, he says, his tone dripping with envy. Suddenly, Dobo's fist glows with blue energy. Such honest, unarmed skills. Phew! He breaks the rule of the duel, launching a magically enhanced strike at the defenseless Mujin. The impact sends Mujin flying backward, blood spraying from his mouth as his ribs shatter. Mujin crashes into the ground, confused and betrayed. Dobo were supposed to fight without inner energy. He coughs up blood, asking, why did you use the 7 wounds fist strike? With tears in his eyes, the young Mujin asks, do you still consider me a friend even now? Dobo looks down at him coldly. Yes, as you can see, that was the 7 wounds fist strike passed down by the Kamdong sect. He explains calmly that the after effects are severe, often leaving victims bedridden or worse. See, I tested it out recently on a senior brother of mine who kept getting cocky. 1 strike, and he's still bedridden. Dobo reveals his true nature, a psychopath testing his toys. Let's see how you handle it, Hwa Mujin, he says, watching his friend writhe in pain. The flashback ends. Jiangchen understands now. So that's it. That's the reason they call me insane. The physical and mental damage from that strike caused the madness and destroyed his energy core. But the injustice didn't end there. Dobo claimed Mujin injured him and demanded compensation. He crippled me into a lunatic with no energy core. Jiangchen realizes the extent of the scheme. Shingdobo's father used the incident to pressure the Flame Hwa clan, demanding their martial arts legacy. Tsinghua merchant group was too powerful to fight, ranked among the top 10 in the Central Plains. The father gave his son Emir's stern scolding for crippling a friend, shielding him from real consequences. His own son was crippled and he ended it with a scolding? What a pathetic household! Jiangchen asks where Hwa Mujin's parents are now, sensing the answer won't be good. Ma Sok explains, 9 years ago, the mother died of illness exacerbated by grief. 3 years later, burdened by the debt incurred to pay off the merchant group, the father also passed away. Hwa Mujin became the child who ruined his clan, the sole reason for his parents' death and the family's downfall. The younger siblings, Dajin and Soyeon, were left to deal with the creditors and the shame. All that remains are debts incurred for your sake. The weight of the tragedy is immense. Only 2 loyal retainers and a handful of martial artists stuck by the ruined family. Jiangchen now understands why the little girl, Soyeon, looked at him with such hatred. It's all your fault that mother and father are dead. Her words echo in his mind with new context. He realizes one sickness, his own condition, destroyed the entire household. He looks at the family shrine, seeing the portraits of the parents he never knew but whose death he caused. Retreating to his room, he finds history books and confirms his suspicions about the timeline. The vivid sensation of the world tells me that this is reality. He accepts his reincarnation. In short, I now inhabit the body of HWA Mugen lunatic with no energy core. He reflects on his past life as the divine demon. Those I needed to kill, I've already killed. I left no regrets in that life. He feels his previous journey was complete. However, the tragic circumstances of this new family tug at his conscience. They remind me of those two children. He finds a crude drawing by the bed. Please get well soon, HWA Mugen. Even amidst the hate, they love their brother. Siblings. He decides to take on the burden. Perhaps I'll help those kids, even if it's just a little. He identifies his primary target, the Tsinghua merchant group. They are the source of all this misery. He thinks about the duel he rashly agreed to. I need to prepare immediately for my duel with Qingdobo. The duel is set for the 5th day of the month after the next. Time is short. I'll need to rebuild myself at least as a beginner before that. He resolves to start cultivation immediately. Jianchen sits in a meditative pose. It seems I must start over from the beginning. He recalls the first time he learned martial arts in his past life. Back then, even breathing was difficult. He expects a struggle, but relies on his centuries of experience to guide him. Perhaps it's because this body's innate martial aptitude is extraordinary, he muses. To his surprise, he doesn't even need to go through the process of sensing energy. Just closing my eyes is enough. Energy begins to flood into him instantly. A golden aura erupts around him, swirling with intense power. It is far easier than he anticipated. But suddenly, his eyes widen in shock. Something is wrong. He vomits a massive amount of blood, his body rejecting the energy violently. He collapses, clutching his chest as the energy dissipates into a chaotic storm. The retainers rush in, panicked. Young Master HWA, what's the matter? An elderly doctor checks his pulse. Finally, just kidding. He's perfectly fine. The doctor is confused. In fact, his pulse is stronger than ever. Why is he healthier now? Jianchen, barely conscious, grabs the doctor. Hey, old man, what's with this body? He explains that trying to form an energy core caused excruciating pain. The doctor reveals the truth. If you're asking what your constitution is, it is said to be the heavenly martial body. Jianchen is stunned. The heavenly martial body, it is a rare heroic constitution chosen by the heavens. The doctor continues, is the exact opposite of being suited for demonic arts. If a body of pure upright energy tries to practice demonic arts, it results in immense pain or death. Jianchen realizes the cruel irony of all the countless heavenly constitutions. Why this one he cannot use his own legendary techniques? The courtyard falls silent as the newly awakened protagonist declares his identity. Jianchen. The world seems to call me the divine demon. The statement hangs in the air, met not with fear, but with ridicule. Divine demon? That's not even funny, sneers the man opposite him. The man, Qingdobo, mocks him openly. Why not just call yourself the king of the underworld instead? He assumes the madness has consumed the eldest son. The narration introduces the antagonist, Qingdobo, the second son of the powerful Tsinghua merchant group, looking down on the fallen clan with disdain. A woman beside him, Su Choyan, chimes in with false sympathy. Tusk, with the eldest son in this state, the fate of the Flame HWA clan is already sealed. She advises him to give up the clan, claiming she speaks out of blood ties and sentiment, though her eyes are cold and calculating. Jianchen, currently inhabiting HWA Mugen's body, ignores their mockery. I will take your silence as acceptance of the duel, he states calmly. He sets the terms clearly. The duel will be held at the Byung Pavilion on the 5th day of the 2nd month. As the visitors turn to leave, Jianchen issues a final warning about the consequences of breaking this agreement, his voice carrying an eerie authority. The visitors depart, muttering about the absurdity of a madman calling himself the divine demon, leaving the clan members in shock. The moment they are gone, the younger siblings confront him. What are you going to do? The little girl stammers, terrified. She points out the obvious flaw in his plan. You've never even swung a sword properly before. Jianchen finds the comment amusing. Never swung a sword, you say? He prepares to show them a glimpse of his power. Considering the beginner's level, he attempts to channel a burst of internal energy to intimidate them and prove his strength. But nothing happens. It's a gar. He is genuinely shocked to find his danshin completely empty. Why don't I have an ounce of inner energy? He realizes with horror that this body is not just weak, it is utterly frail. The girl, HWA Soyen, begs him to stop. Brother, I'm begging you, come to your senses. She believes his madness is flaring up again. The younger brother tries to defend him, but Soyen snaps. What kind of fool would just sit and take that quietly? Her frustration boils over into a scream. It's all your fault that mother and father are dead. She runs off, tears streaming down her face. A loyal retainer steps in to defuse the situation, apologizing to Jianshin and explaining that the girl often loses herself in grief. Left alone, Jianshin reflects on the absurdity of his situation. Even the children treat me like a madman. This is absurd. He looks at his hands, recalling his final moments in his previous life. I clearly cut through the Namgoon clan patriarch's head. He remembers the physical sensation of death, his heart being pierced, his breath failing him. He had fulfilled his vengeance for Yeonhwa and her siblings, content to fade into the afterlife. I should have closed my eyes peacefully. Now I'm inside this body. The transition from a legendary warrior to a cripple baffles him. He wonders about the children who resemble his past loves, Seok and Young. How did this happen? The retainer, Ma Sok, approaches him with a concerned look. You've gone out again with your frail body? Do you have any idea how worried I've been? Jianshin asks, who are you? You seem to know me, prompting Ma Sok to sigh heavily. Ma Sok assumes it's amnesia caused by the madness. Another seizure? Alright, allow me to explain once again. He reveals the history of the body Jianshin inhabits. Hwa Mujin was once a martial arts genius, coveted by countless orthodox sects. Ma Sok begins the story of the tragedy that occurred 17 years ago, a tale he has told over 6,000 times. The scene shifts to a flashback. A young Hwa Mujin and a young Dobo stand in a forest clearing. Let us duel with fairness today, Dobo. Without inner energy, the young Mujin proposes a friendly spar. Dobo agrees with a smile. Sure. Without inner energy, fair and square. But his eyes hide a dark intent. The fight begins. It is supposed to be a test of pure skill, child against child. Mujin, true to his reputation as a genius, blocks every single strike Dobo throws at him. As expected of Dobo, Mujin praises his friend, unaware of the jealousy brewing beneath the surface. Dobo's face twists. You really are the promising genius admired by the orthodox sects, he says, his tone dripping with envy. Suddenly, Dobo's fist glows with blue energy. Such honest, unarmed skills. He breaks the rule of the duel, launching a magically enhanced strike at the defenseless Mujin. The impact sends Mujin flying backward, blood spraying from his mouth as his ribs shatter. Mujin crashes into the ground, confused and betrayed. Dobo was supposed to fight without inner energy. He coughs up blood, asking, why did you use the 7 wounds fist strike? With tears in his eyes, the young Mujin asks, do you still consider me a friend even now? Dobo looks down at him coldly. Yes, as you can see, that was the 7 wounds fist strike passed down by the Kondon sect. He explains calmly that the after effects are severe, often leaving victims bedridden or worse. See, I tested it out recently on a senior brother of mine who kept getting cocky. 1 strike, and he is still bedridden. Dobo reveals his true nature, a psychopath testing his toys. Let's see how you handle it, Hwa Mujin, he says, watching his friend writhe in pain. The flashback ends. Jianshin understands now. So that's it. That's the reason they call me insane. The physical and mental damage from that strike caused the madness and destroyed his energy core. But the injustice didn't end there. Dobo claimed Mujin injured him and demanded compensation. He crippled me into a lunatic with no energy core. Jianshin realizes the extent of the scheme. Dobo's father used the incident to pressure the Flame Hwa clan, demanding their martial arts legacy. The Tsinghua merchant group was too powerful to fight, ranked among the top 10 in the Central Plains. The father gave his son Amir stern scolding for crippling a friend, shielding him for real consequences. His own son was crippled and he ended it with a scolding? What a pathetic household! Jianshin asks where Hwa Mujin's parents are now, sensing the answer won't be good. Ma Sok explains, 9 years ago, the mother died of illness exacerbated by grief. 3 years later, burdened by the debt incurred to pay off the merchant group, the father also passed away. Hwa Mujin became the child who ruined his clan, the sole reason for his parents' death and the family's downfall. The younger siblings, Dajin and Soyeon, were left to deal with the creditors and the shame. All that remains are debts incurred for your sake. The weight of the tragedy is immense. Only 2 loyal retainers and a handful of martial artists stuck by the ruined family. Jianshin now understands why the little girl, Soyeon, looked at him with such hatred. It's all your fault that mother and father are dead. Her words echo in his mind with new context. He realizes one sickness, his own condition, destroyed the entire household. He looks at the family shrine, seeing the portraits of the parents he never knew but whose death he caused. Retreating to his room, he finds history books and confirms his suspicions about the timeline. The vivid sensation of the world tells me that this is reality. He accepts his reincarnation. In short, I now inhabit the body of HWA Mugen, a lunatic with no energy core. He reflects on his past life as the divine demon. Those I needed to kill, I've already killed. I left no regrets in that life. He feels his previous journey was complete. However, the tragic circumstances of this new family tug at his conscience. They remind me of those two children. He finds a crude drawing by the bed. Please get well soon, HWA Mugen. Even amidst the hate, they love their brother. Siblings, he decides to take on the burden. Perhaps I'll help those kids, even if it's just a little. He identifies his primary target, the Tsinghua merchant group. They are the source of all this misery. He thinks about the duel he rashly agreed to. I need to prepare immediately for my duel with Ching Dobo. The duel is set for the 5th day of the month after the next. Time is short. I'll need to rebuild myself at least as a beginner before that. He resolves to start cultivation immediately. Jianshin sits in a meditative pose. It seems I must start over from the beginning. He recalls the first time he learned martial arts in his past life. Back then, even breathing was difficult. He expects a struggle, but relies on his centuries of experience to guide him. Perhaps it's because this body's innate martial aptitude is extraordinary, he muses. To his surprise, he doesn't even need to go through the process of sensing energy. Just closing my eyes is enough. Energy begins to flood into him instantly. A golden aura erupts around him, swirling with intense power. It is far easier than he anticipated. But suddenly, his eyes widen in shock. Something is wrong. He vomits a massive amount of blood, his body rejecting the energy violently. He collapses, clutching his chest as the energy dissipates into a chaotic storm. The retainers rush in, panicked. Young Master HWA, what's the matter? An elderly doctor checks his pulse. Finally, just kidding. He is perfectly fine. Doctor is confused. In fact, his pulse is stronger than ever. Why is he healthier now? Jianshin, barely conscious, grabs the doctor. Hey, old man, what's with this body? He explains that trying to form an energy core caused excruciating pain. The vice leader of the Bangho sect sweats profusely, terrified by the power HWA Mugen just displayed. This is bad for you, he stammers, trying to maintain some authority. HWA Mugen stares him down with cold, glowing eyes. I speak. Do you wish to know? The vice leader begins to crumble under the pressure. HWA Mugen asks the critical question. Why would you people let our clan get a loan when you hate losing money in the first place? He points out the anomaly, without any collateral, at that. I'm just sensing some malicious intent here. The vice leader tries to play dumb. Why, you must be getting confused. Why would we have malice? HWA Mugen scoffs, holding up a handful of dice infused with his energy. Yup, I can hear your brain buzzing all the way from here. He issues a gruesome threat. Maybe if you have 30 or so of these dice shoved down your throat. The dice rattle in his hand, promising a painful death. Think well. You won't be able to speak even if you want to. The threat is absolute, leaving the vice leader no room to maneuver. Defeated, the vice leader cracks. They were orders from the Tsinghua merchant group. HWA Mugen nods, his suspicions confirmed. Is that so? I knew it was those rats. He presses for details. So what kind of trade did you make with them? The vice leader hesitates, but HWA Mugen cuts him off. You aren't some proud sage or warrior. If you wish to be loyal, save it for your underlings. The merchant bastards wouldn't give a shit even if your limbs get chopped up and this whole place was burned down tonight. The vice leader reveals the truth. We had a secret contract. The Tsinghua merchant group told us to leave the Flame HWA clan with as much money as they needed. The plan was vicious. With an interest so high, it was enough to make them fall into the hellish depths of debt. In exchange for making the Flame HWA clan fall, they were to give us your land on top of rewards to satisfy us. HWA Mugen calculates the cost. So it was for the land. The 300 gold neon I'll borrow today, how much does that add up to after 1 year? Vice leader replies nervously. According to the contract, it will amount to 5,000 gold neon. HWA Mugen laughs, but his eyes are devoid of humor. Ha, you guys are real funny. He asks one final question, the ones who clean up after your asses. Who are they? The answer comes, the Sozel sect. Did the four martial heavens have a sect like that? HWA Mugen recognizes the name immediately, an alliance of unorthodox sects. It hasn't been long since they joined. Masak, standing nearby, is confused. Young master, you've never met them before. What are you going on about? HWA Mugen waves him off. Don't worry about it. I don't feel like explaining. He changes the subject, annoyed. Anyway, why is the guy who went to get the money so late? The thugs bring out a heavy chest. If you just give us a bit more time. HWA Mugen grabs the chest. This should be enough. Shut up and take it. He orders them, write today's loan down on your books. Once I settled everything with the Tsinghua merchant group, I'll come back and pay our debt. Before leaving, he notices something else. Oh, and it looks like you guys are taking a bunch of money from peasants. He gives a final warning. Don't go too far. If you cross the line, I'll screw you over. Let's go! He commands Masak, leaving the terrified sect members behind. They walk back in the rain. Masak looks at HWA Mugen's back, seeing a stranger. Young master. He notices blood on HWA Mugen's clothes. What? Just what happened over at the Bangho sect? HWA Mugen replies calmly, it's not mine. I just went and borrowed a bit of money. He recalls the terrified thugs bidding him good luck. As he left, Masak is skeptical. Where did you steal that from? There's no way the Bangho sect would lend us. HWA Mugen cuts him off. I told them to make sure to write it down in their books. You just need to worry about feeding and clothing my siblings well. Chief Steward do. HWA Mugen enters the clan's ancestral shrine, closing the doors behind him for privacy. He looks at the portraits of the parents. Have you heard of a disease that makes one go mad? Since I never had parents, I'm not sure what to say. He feels a strange connection to the dead couple. He offers a prayer. The money issues have been somewhat resolved, so don't worry. I'll take good care of my siblings and the servants. He takes on the responsibility fully. You can rest easy now. The candles flicker as if acknowledging his vow. He mentions the upcoming fight. I promised to fight some idiot named Chingdobo, but don't worry. I'll break his neck. The scene shifts to the next day. Workers are struggling to carry heavy equipment into the courtyard. Just what did he order? They grumble, straining under the weight. HWA Mugen watches them. Good work, everyone. A worker wipes sweat from his brow. That was so heavy, it felt like my spine was gonna snap. Masak leads them in. Is it here? The items are revealed. Heavy iron pillars labeled 50 jin, 80 jin, and 110 jin. Masak is baffled. What did you even get these for? The warriors lugging them were really struggling. HWA Mugen smirks. Obviously, I'm going to swing it. Masak is horrified. Going to swing the heavy thing? HWA Mugen grips the handle of the 50 jin weight. Let's start with an easy 50 jin. He prepares to lift it with one hand. His arm shakes violently, but the weight barely moves. He collapses, the weight thudding back down. I thought this might be the case, but to think I can't even raise 50 jin. He sits on the floor, frustrated. This body is rotten. He grabs it with both hands. Pick it up. If I use both hands, I can't just give up. Masak watches him struggle, unsure whether to help or look away. HWA Mugen pants heavily. Make sure to include lots of meat in my meals too. Masak sighs. I can't help but worry. Time passes. I have 2 weeks before the duel. HWA Mugen trains relentlessly in the training hall. He realizes a critical flaw. My body's constitution is the heavenly martial body. It's the polar opposite of the demonic arts my master taught me. He cannot use his original techniques. He switches stances, recalling an old memory. I guess I have no choice but to learn the martial art of my master's friend. Blue energy swirls around his blade. The peerless 9 swords. Meanwhile, at a lavish estate, Chingdobo plays a string instrument. HWA Mugen beat up the Bangho lackeys. Let's see your hidden side, Great Flame. HWA Clan Air. HWA Mugen begins his grueling physical training, throwing a powerful punch into the air, testing the limits of his new, frail body. He strikes a sandbag with raw force, his fists glowing slightly as he tries to awaken his dormant muscles. He transitions into a high kick, his movements sharp and disciplined despite his lack of internal energy. Leaping into the air, he executes a flying kick, sweat flying from his brow as he pushes himself to the brink. Landing gracefully, his footwork is precise, leaving glowing trails of blue energy on the stone floor. He realizes that everything he asked for has been prepared perfectly by his loyal retainer, Masak. The training hall is set. HWA Mugen stands ready, his body bandaged, but his spirit burning with determination. It begins now, he declares, his eyes focusing on the grueling path ahead to regain his strength. He takes a firm step forward, grounding himself as he prepares to execute the first technique of his new arsenal. He assumes the stance for the asterisk solitary 9 swords, first form, declaration form asterisk, holding the blade with intent. So this is the heavenly martial body, he thinks, feeling the unique constitution of his vessel reacting to the movements. He spins, unleashing a wave of energy. I carry my sword and step forward at any time. The blade glows with a brilliant blue light. Not even Mount Tai dares block my path. He visualizes an unbreakable barrier. No matter what weapon comes at me, with a savage strike he shatters the imaginary defense. I will shatter them all. Pain shoots through his arms. I'm already reaching my limits from just this much. He grits his teeth, forcing his trembling limbs to obey. But I have to endure. Even if the enemy's energy shakes the heavens, he channels every ounce of his will into the blade. A massive red aura manifests in his mind, representing an overwhelming foe. It will split before this sword. He cuts through the red aura with a clean, blue slash. But reality hits hard. A training log swings down, slamming into him with brutal force. He is knocked back, skidding across the floor. On my back, he stumbles, barely keeping his footing, gasping for breath as the training mechanism resets. Dozens of bamboo projectiles fire at him simultaneously from the walls. He twists his body, dodging the barrage by a hair's breadth, his senses heightened to the limit. He counters, his sword moving like a blur to deflect the incoming attacks. No martial art can stand before this edge, he recites, slicing through the bamboo effortlessly. He visualizes a forest of enemies. All complicated techniques fall to natural counterplay. He unleashes a whirlwind of slashes, cutting down the green bamboo in a single breath. Thus, the simplest sword can divide them. He stands amidst the falling debris. A massive rope descends, swinging a heavy log directly at his head. He strikes the log, the impact vibrating through his entire skeleton. More logs fall from the ceiling, creating a chaotic storm of wood and death. He weaves through them, his sword glowing blue as he parries the heavy weights. The logs glow red with momentum, threatening to crush him flat. Even a floating leaf on water will be split in two by this blade. He focuses his mind. What? He screams, the sheer physical strain making him break character for a moment. He keeps moving, the candles in the room flickering violently from the wind pressure of his strikes. The sword opens the earth beneath. If it can cut the ground, then size no longer matters. He leaps, slicing a massive log cleanly in half mid-air with a shout. Blue energy explodes outward as he executes the pinnacle of the technique. Form 8, Heaven-Sundering Form. The slash tears through the air itself. Even the sky will be split by this blade. The imagery shifts to his sunset, split by his power. He stands in silhouette, looking at the results. Is there anything left in the world I cannot cleave? The vision fades. A broken sword lies on the ground. At last, I have cut both myself and my sword. I have no more reason to wield a sword. The philosophy of the technique reaches its zenith. A flashback triggers. He sees his old friend in a bamboo forest. Did you memorize it? The divine demon, in his past life, scoffs. Even the explanations are unbearably cringy. Cutting earth, sky, your sword, and even yourself. Sounds like something a kid made up. I won't deny that, his friend laughs. But should my close friend's sword legacy really end like this? I couldn't carry it on, so I want you to take it up instead. The burden is past. He was the only swordsman who could stand toe-to-toe with me. HWA Mugen recalls with respect. Huh? With no inner power? HWA Mugen questions the logic. He probably used moving internal skill. He realizes that trash gear method. He strictly insisted it be passed on to someone not part of any sect, because they can't fully learn it. If you swing the sword style 1,000 times, your body will begin to change. At 100,000 swings, you'll start to emit sword aura. At 1,000,000 swings, few will match you under heaven. The promise of ultimate power through sheer effort. So even if you practice it 1,000 times a day, you'll finish mastering it in 3 years? The flashback ends. Masa asks, was he really as strong as you, master? I can't say for sure, HWA Mugen replies. But if we fought to the end, one of us would definitely die. Back in reality, a log slams into him again. Young master! Masa screams in panic. HWA Mugen lies on the floor, battered. Hit me once more and I'll kill you, he groans. Later, HWA Mugen is eating ravenously. He grabs a piece of pork with his bare hands. Isn't this pork? He stuffs his face, desperate for protein. Masa stammers as HWA Mugen demands an upgrade. Starting tomorrow, make it beef. Beef builds muscle better. Masa watches him eat. By the way, young master, when did you start learning that martial art? I mean a guy who couldn't even function suddenly mastering sword techniques. It's weird. HWA Mugen stops eating. Well, I told the kids already, so I guess telling you doesn't matter. Truth is, I'm not really the eldest son, HWA Mugen. My real identity is the divine demon. Masa stares blankly, then stands up. If you're gonna spout nonsense again, I'm leaving. Ma-sok leaves, thinking the madness has returned. HWA Mujin sighs. I only worry about one thing, HWA Mujin thinks to himself, looking at the moon. That someday, like before, I'll lose my memory again and change into someone else, and then disappear without a word. A deep fear of losing his identity haunts him. The next morning, Ma-sok asks, "You're not thinking of abandoning the Yeomwa clan, are you?" "I would never abandon the clan," HWA Mujin vows. "Not until Yeomwa becomes the strongest martial family in Sichuan." Ma-sok is stunned. Strongest in Sichuan, that's ridiculous. HWA Mujin smiles at the spirit of the real HWA Mujin. Strongest in Sichuan, that should be enough for you too, right? If you're done yapping, then get out. He dismisses Ma-sok to rest. In 10 days, it'll be the duel between Qingdobo and young Master HWA. The countdown begins. A silhouette watches the room. We can't let the last two remaining be harmed as well, Ma-sok resolves, fearing the worst for the family's future. Rain pours relentlessly outside the training hall. HWA Mujin stands panting, drenched in sweat and rain, having pushed his body to the breaking point. Damn, he reflects on his progress. Just swinging a sword every day, I've built some muscle on my arms now. He grips the massive blade. I finally reached the point where I can swing a 110 June iron sword with one hand. Despite the strength gains, he is frustrated. But why is my sword technique still unstable? He wipes his face, feeling the pressure. TCH, there's only a week left until the martial arts competition. Suddenly, the doors slide open. Brother Mujin, you're still training hard. Two small figures appear in the doorway. It's his younger siblings, Soyeon and Dojin. Mujin looks at them, surprised. What brings you kids here? He tries to shoo them away for their safety. It's dangerous, so go play somewhere else. Soyeon steps forward, clutching her hands nervously. I was worried. She admits she's been watching him overwork himself for days. Tears well up in her eyes. Are you doing this because of what I said harshly before? That it's all your fault our parents died? Mujin looks down at them, his expression softening. I was so angry then I did that, Soyeon sobs. Whenever I see these kids, I'm reminded of them, Mujin thinks, seeing the innocence he once failed to protect in his past life. He pats them on the head. It's fine, don't worry about it. The siblings look up, relieved. Dojin changes the subject, excited. By the way, Brother Mujin, your stance is really amazing. This is how you do it, right? The two kids try to mimic his sword stance. Stretch more. Dojin instructs his sister. No, that's not it. Mujin watches them, amused. Is he imitating me? The kid's cute. The sight triggers a memory. Seeing these kids reminds me of when I trained with my master. A flashback shows Mujin's old master teaching him. HWA Mujin, when swinging the sword, exhale as long as possible. Then hope. Absolutely don't rush. Finally, when returning to position, inhale slowly and shortly. Understood? Back in the present, Mujin realizes the missing piece. I had forgotten my master's words. The rain continues to hammer down on the roof tiles, setting a rhythmic backdrop for his realization. When swinging the sword, exhale as long as possible, he recites internally, adjusting his breathing. Without rushing at all, he steadies his trembling hands, finding a center of calm amidst the storm. When returning to position, inhale. Slowly and shortly, he moves his feet, grounding himself. He draws the heavy sword back, his eyes glowing with renewed focus. A diagram of his internal energy appears, a qigong that builds internal energy by directly moving the body. He strikes. He pours out all the internal energy gathered in his body at once. Success! A burst of red energy explodes from the impact zone, shattering the wooden targets. The candles in the room flare up violently, responding to the sudden release of power. Mujin stands firm, smoke rising from his blade. The technique worked. The narration explains, compared to other qigong that perform energy circulation through meditation, pupil is classified as a lower-class martial art where significant development of energy channels is hard to expect. Mujin's eyes flash red in the darkness. He is defying the classification of the art through sheer mastery. He swings again, a massive red trail following his blade. In awakening such pupil, what was important was a stable breathing method. The red energy slashes through the rain, vaporizing the water droplets on contact. Unlike before when swinging the sword was difficult, he moves with fluidity now. The body gradually stabilizes by breathing according to the sword technique. Deep within him, the danshin that had been scattered for years slowly begins to condense and reform. Later that evening, Mujin is seen eating ravenously with chopsticks, refueling his body. He pauses, sensing someone watching him from the shadows. The scene shifts to the servants' quarters. Seems to have been effective. A doctor is examining Mujin in a flashback. Even if it's the treatment of Wudang Bixian, it shouldn't improve in just one session, right? The doctor is baffled. Two servants gossip in the hallway. Is young Master HWA still doing that? Yes, he has become a completely different person now. At first, he kept collapsing, but now he doesn't even show signs of it. They are in awe of his recovery. If any problem occurs, report to me. Yes, understood. They continue to monitor him closely. Back in the training room, Mujin looks at the destruction he caused. The floor is cracked and ruined. Alright, he realizes this room can no longer contain his training. It's too narrow to continue training here, he mutters, surveying the damage. I should use the training ground from now on. He slings his heavy sword over his shoulder. He walks out into the sunlight, a confident grin on his face, ready to face the clan. The large training ground is busy. Disciples of the clan are practicing under the bright sun. They notice him approaching. There are guests, one whispers. The atmosphere tenses immediately. Mujin walks boldly into the center. Sir warriors. Young Master says he will use the large training ground. The warriors exchange annoyed glances. They are not happy about being displaced. Mujin addresses them casually. You all heard well, right? Since I need to train alone, I'll borrow the large training ground for a while. He declares it as a fact, not a request. A senior warrior steps up, blocking him. There's another training ground nearby, so use that one. The warriors sneer at him. What is this half-dead corpse saying? Just swinging a sword doesn't make anyone a martial artist. One mocks him. Another adds, without even having a drop of blood on the blade. They clearly do not respect his authority. Mujin observes them coldly. The looks in their eyes are quite challenging. Some younger disciples try to intervene. Brother everyone, step back. Since young Master HWA says he will train in martial arts, they try to keep the peace. But a large man with a beard steps forward. Xiao Bo-win, Death Squad commander of the Yomwa clan. He glares at Mujin. It seems the madness has erupted again. Even if you are the young master, suddenly, he crosses his arms. Hey, dull talent. Why don't you stop? Mujin doesn't flinch. If you have complaints, say it to my face. Bottling it up is something only cowards do, Mujin taunts back. Xiao Bowen's vein pops. So what are you suggesting? Among people who eat by the sword, if there are complaints, what can we do? Another warrior warns, young Master HWA, no matter how much the world has tilted, there is no warrior who draws a sword against the person who will become the clan head. The hierarchy is the only thing protecting Mujin right now. Mujin scoffs. There's a saying, a dog that bites doesn't bark. And a barking dog is full of fear. He insults the entire squad to their faces. If you're not going to step forward, don't bark from the start, he says, stretching his leg. Live like a scared dog with its tail between its legs. He drops the heavy sword with a thud. Blue energy crackles around his hand as he grips the hilt. What? He draws the massive blade, aiming it at the commander. Regret won't do you any good. I'm not the type to regret. The confrontation in the training ground begins. Regret won't help you, warns Mujin, but Xiao Bowen, the Death Squad commander, remains defiant. I'm not the type to feel regret, Xiao Bowen retorts, unaware of the storm about to descend upon him. Mujin draws his massive blade, but to everyone's surprise, he plants it into the ground instead of swinging it. He steps away from the sword, while leaving the heavy weapon standing alone as a testament to his confidence. He assumes a fighting stance barehanded. He's fighting without a sword? The onlookers are baffled. Xiao Bowen is insulted. And what are those moves? He scoffs, preparing to attack with his own blade. Xiao Bowen charges, swinging his sword with lethal intent. Stop dodging and face these attacks with your sword. Mujin weaves through the strikes effortlessly, his movements fluid and impossible to track. Master HWA. The spectators gasp as Mujin narrowly evades a strike that would have cleaved him in two. Mujin lands a solid kick to Xiao Bowen's jaw, sending him stumbling back. You're right, Mujin admits calmly. Xiao Bowen wipes blood from his mouth, furious. It's been 25 years since I entered the Yomwa clan. Our clan ended up like this all because of you, young Master HWA. He blames Mujin for the clan's downfall. And now, you're preaching about martial arts. His anger boils over into a frenzied attack. Know your place! Mujin dodges again, his eyes glowing blue. He prepares his counterattack. Solitary 9. He steps in close, bypassing the sword's reach. Everything you said was true. But, from now on, things will be different. Mujin unleashes a palm strike infused with internal energy. The impact hits Xiao Bowen squarely in the chest. What do you mean my internal energy is shaken by this technique? Xiao Bowen is sent flying, crashing into the ground. How is this possible? He looks up, dazed, seeing Mujin standing over him, not as a madman, but as a warrior. His once clouded gaze is completely different. Xiaobo realizes the change. The eyes of a true warrior, burning with resolve, he sees the spirit of the clan's founder in Mujin. Mujin extends a hand, not to strike, but to acknowledge the fight. Coward! You knew he couldn't face you with his true strength. Other warriors rush to defend their commander, misunderstanding the situation. Young Master HWA actually won? Xiaobo stops them. I concede defeat. He bows his head in shame and respect. I've learned from this, he admits, accepting his loss gracefully. Brother, are you all right? The other squad members check on him. Xiaobo scolds them. Everyone, stop interfering and move to the training ground next door. He acknowledges Mujin's authority. Now step down, Mujin commands, reclaiming his position. Mujin turns to the crowd. Now, nobody has any complaints, right? The training ground falls silent. Mujin stands tall, his dominance established. He looks at the sky, satisfied. You too, Ma-sak. Go on ahead. Ma-sak approaches him later. Even if he's the young master, isn't this going too far? Why did you hold back, brother? Xiaobo asks his subordinate in private. Hold back. I was going to half-kill him, the subordinate admits, shocked by Mujin's strength. What? Really? Xiaobo realizes the gap was even wider than he thought. Mujin talks to Ma-sak. Do I look like someone who spouts empty words? And no, but still Ma-sak is struggling to process the rapid changes. Whatever happened, it seems our mad young master has gained a heavenly opportunity. Ma-sak fantasizes about Mujin encountering a legendary master or finding a secret manual. Heavenly opportunity? But when would he have had the chance? The timeline doesn't add up. Well, either way, since the young master's changed, I guess it's fine, right? He decides to accept the miracle. Later that night, the clan elders gather. Tomorrow, we have a duel with the Qinghwa Merchant Guild. Elder Joe, how many years has it been since we entered this clan? Du Bixin asks. About 37 years. It's quite a long time. They reminisce about the glory days. Back in his youth, Lord Yomj was truly unmatched. Flashbacks of the previous clan head appear. He appeared alone, and even the haughty Tang clan had no choice but to acknowledge his martial prowess. Didn't you and I both swear to devote our lives, drawn by his radiance? Du Bixin reminds him. Yet now, you'd break that vow. He accuses Elder Joe of giving up. This isn't betraying him. Elder Joe defends himself. We must carry on his bloodline and martial legacy somehow. You don't need to convince me of that. I know. Du Bixin sighs. 17 years. 17 years tending to young Master Hwa's madness. 17 years protecting the Yomwa clan as it withered alongside him. The burden has been immense. Even if we meet Lord Yomj in the afterlife, he wouldn't blame us. They comfort themselves with this thought. Importantly, are the preparations complete? They discuss their exit strategy. There's not much to prepare, just a little silver to secure a new place to settle. Beyond that, only a handful of warriors and 4 clan tokens remain. The once great clan is reduced to scraps. Even so, he's still of his bloodline. Someone must be there to tend to the body. They fear Mujin will die in the duel. The Qinghwa Merchant Guild will be there. They mean to make it official. Those vicious snakes. They'll burn this place until not even roots remain. The next morning, Mujin is eating breakfast. Lately the meat feels tougher. Is it just me? Ma-sak replies, it's not just you. The cheaper cuts from cattle are always the toughest. Mujin is suspicious. Don't tell me you're already out of money? How would I know? The chief steward barely gives us any. Are you sulking? Mujin asks. Would I sulk over something so petty? Ma-sak pouts. Then why did you say we should run and get me punched? Mujin teases him. Forget that. How's my look today? Mujin strikes a pose in his new robes. Ma-sak is blunt. Honestly, you looked better with the bandages on. They prepare to leave. You're really going? Ma-sak asks, worried. Of course not. You didn't come here to spout the same nonsense about running away too, did you? Mujin stops him. Then wait here. I'll be back after beating those thieves to a pulp. He steps out confidently. Ma-sak watches him go. Geez, this old man worries too much. I'm the one who's gonna smash them anyway. Mujin walks towards the gate. Maybe it's just that old folks worry more. He tries to brush off the concern. He spots Du Bixin waiting for him. Let's go. The sun rises, casting a golden light on the clan. The day of the duel has arrived. Mujin and Du Bixin walk side by side. Of course not, Du Bixin replies to an unspoken question. They reach the gate where the other retainers are waiting. Let's go! The group marches out to meet their destiny. The sun shines brightly on Mujin's back. The atmosphere is tense but hopeful. Mujin leads the way, looking like a true leader. I'm the one who's gonna smash them anyway, echoes in his mind as he steps forward to reclaim his clan's honor. The day of the duel has arrived. A bookmaker holds up a brush, shouting to the gathering crowd, "If you want to bet, hurry up and place your wagers." The venue is massive, with spectators filling every level of the stands, eager to witness the clash between the Merchant Guild and the Fallen Clan. The crowd buzzes with anticipation. "Hey, what are the odds?" One man asks, looking to make a quick profit. The bookmaker replies, "At best, you'll get about half the payout," indicating the odds are heavily skewed against the Manhwa family. A gambler strokes his chin. That actually sounds pretty decent. If it's a martial artist, it might be better to bet on the Manhwa family. He makes his decision. "Then I'll bet 2 silver coins on Manhwa's young master." Suddenly, a commotion stirs. It's Manhwa family's young master Hwageng. A drunk, stumbling figure appears. The gambler's face pales instantly. "Can I cancel the 2 silver coins bet on Manhwa family?" he asks in despair. Mujin hiccups, grinning at his embarrassed retainer Masak. "See, I told you I wouldn't be late, didn't I?" From the VIP balcony, Dobo watches the spectacle with disdain. "What? You're saying Manhwa family applied for the duel first?" His associates discuss the rumors. Doing something reckless without the skill if the madness is that severe, then the rumors were true. Dobo is annoyed. Good grief, it's like they're saying we started this match on purpose. He clenches his fist. "I'll have no choice but to return the favor." Whispers spread through the crowd. Did the Tsinghua Merchant Company take away the Manhwa family's secret art? Dobo overhears and is confused. "What? You say you coveted the Manhwa family's secret art? Of all houses, Tsinghua Merchant Company?" He realizes the public narrative is turning against them. Dobo glares down at Mujin. "I have no idea what's really going on. I wonder how long that composure of yours will last." "We have no option but to fight like this, do we?" Mujin thinks, ready to play the part of the victimized hero. The official announcer steps forward. "Everyone, attention! The witness for this duel is Han Ik-gang of the Gongtong clan." Han Ik-gang, his stern and muscular master, is introduced on the large screen. The next head of the Tsinghua Merchant Company, Dobo. Dobo leaps into the arena with flair. And Manhwa family's young master, Hwa Mujin. Mujin steps up calmly, dragging his heavy sword. Under the name of the witnesses, fight with fair and square honor. The duel is officially sanctioned. Dobo sneers at Mujin. "It seems you have received the items we sent." Mujin tilts his head. "What are you talking about?" Dobo mocks him. "That outfit you're wearing right now is the Manhwa family Yomj battle uniform. I personally sent it to commemorate Hwa Mujin's glorious return," he says sarcastically. The crowd murmurs. The owner of the Manhwa family is a sword master? Can someone wield swordsmanship with such a large blade? Meanwhile, the Manhwa retainers watch anxiously. Did the young master have no special remark? Masak whispers, "Well, when I suggested we run away this morning, he flew into a rage." Du Bichin is shocked. "You also said to run away?" Masak backtracks. "Only joking when I said that. I actually believe the young master will win without a doubt." Internally, Masak thinks, "Oh, maybe it would have been better to run?" It changed so suddenly? Can madness be contagious? He worries about his own judgment. The referee raises his hand. Are both sides ready? The gong striker winds up for a massive swing. Asterisk ding exclamation asterisk. The sound echoes through the arena. Immediately, Dobo charges, his sword flashing. Start! A streak of red energy slashes through the air, aiming for Mujin's head. Asterisk clang exclamation asterisk. An explosion of sparks as Mujin blocks the strike effortlessly. Mujin dodges a follow-up attack with a blur of blue movement. That's so fast. The spectators gasp, unable to track the movements. I heard he hadn't learned martial arts either. The rumors are proven wrong in an instant. Dobo presses the attack, his coat swirling as he unleashes a flurry of blows. Tuish! Tuish! The air screams as the blades cut through it. Sparks fly continuously as metal meets metal. Mujin remains defensive, parrying and dodging with minimal effort. Regret won't help you, Dobo taunts, trying to break Mujin's focus. I'm not the type to feel regret, Mujin replies coolly. The crowd notices something strange. He's fighting without a sword? And what are those moves? Mujin is using the flat of his blade and his body movement more than proper sword techniques. Stop dodging and face these attacks with your sword. Dobo screams in frustration. He launches a vicious overhead strike. Mujin steps aside, letting the blade smash into the ground. You're right, Mujin admits, shifting his stance. He decides it's time to stop playing around. Mujin leaps high into the air, spinning like a top. He brings his heavy sword down in a vertical slash. A massive beam of energy slams into the arena floor. Debris and dust explode outward, obscuring the fighters. Dobo emerges from the dust, coughing but furious. He attacks again, but Mujin weaves through the strikes like a ghost. "This time I'll leave you crippled," Mujin whispers, his voice cold. Dobo grins manically. Crushing someone's will is the thing I do best. He believes he still has the upper hand. They clash again, the impact shaking the entire stadium. Mujin flips backward, creating distance. He lands gracefully, his heavy sword seemingly weightless. He spins the sword, readying his next move. In the stands, the retainers watch with wide eyes. Ahem, I thought the young master would be bested right away, but he's holding out so well. Masak theorizes, perhaps the young master is not going all out right now. Dubichin asks, what do you mean all of a sudden? I've secretly watched the young master training alone up to now. Masak reveals, something truly massive and even more powerful might show up. Mujin lowers his stance, energy gathering around him. Internally, Mujin assesses the fight. From what I can roughly tell, my level is about even with him. Was that too much to expect in such a short time? He feels a bit disappointed. Well, it doesn't matter, he decides. Regardless of whether the opponent was stronger than me in the past, when it comes down to it, I finished them all. The Divine Demon's confidence returns. So with this one he tightens his grip on the hilt. Blue and red auras begin to flare violently around him. The energy condenses into a terrifying killing intent. Definitely kill him. Mujin charges, ready to end the duel. Far from the duel, a carriage carrying the unconscious younger siblings of HWA Mujin speeds away from the clan grounds. A letter flutters, revealing their escape plan was discovered. Masak arrives at the designated meeting point, looking exhausted. Futile to somehow, I've finally arrived. He glances back at the carriage. Fortunately, the two of them fell asleep, so it was easy to bring them. He turns to Dubichin, who stands resolutely. Why are you truly not coming with me? Dubichin shakes his head. He's still that person's blood relative. Someone must at least gather his remains. He expects Mujin to die. I will personally oversee the last journey of the young master HWA. His loyalty is to the dead, not the living. Dubichin commands Masak, then we'll go on ahead. Let's meet at the promised location. As Masak departs, Dubichin watches the horizon. I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do. Doubt lingers in his mind. Back at the arena, the duel rages on. Mujin dominates the fight, his massive sword swinging with terrifying force. Chingdobo is not bad for his age, Mujin thinks, parrying a strike effortlessly. But in the end, he's still just at the level of a greenhorn. Mujin is unimpressed by his opponent's touted genius. The crowd watches in awe as Mujin deflects Dobo's rapid attacks. I heard that the second son of the Qinghua Merchant Guild was an outer sect disciple of the Kangdong sect. A spectator whispers. Another replies, but it seems he's not all that impressive after all. The narrative of the fight has completely flipped. Dobo is getting desperate. His face twists in frustration as his techniques fail to land. From the stands, a retainer shouts a warning, Young Master HWA, dodge. Young Master HWA, please dodge. They see Dobo preparing a lethal technique. Dobo gathers purple energy around his blade. Preemptive step. He screams, launching a sneak attack. The attack is fast and vicious, aimed directly at Mujin's vitals. But Mujin doesn't dodge. He meets the attack head-on with a calm expression. The onlookers are shocked by the sheer volume of energy Dobo is releasing. Mujin blocks the strike, his heavy sword absorbing the impact without moving an inch. Dobo grunts, straining against Mujin's immovable defense. Young Master Ching is gathering all of his inner energy. The commentators realize this is an all-or-nothing gamble. That must surely be his final strike. It's a desperate move to end the fight quickly. Mujin stares down at him cold. Even your gathering of inner energy is slow. With a sudden burst of speed, Mujin breaks the deadlock. He sidesteps, leaving Dobo exposed. Too slow. Mujin's sword flashes. Peerless 9 Swords, second form. Blue lightning crackles around the massive blade. Weapon destruction. The heavy sword smashes into Dobo's weapon, shattering it instantly into 1,000 pieces. Dobo is thrown back, his balance lost. I'm this helpless against his attacks? He can't believe it. I'm losing to this energy core-less bastard. His pride crumbles. Mujin doesn't stop. He swings again, aiming for the body. A spray of blood erupts as Mujin's blade connects with Dobo's arm. Dobo screams in agony as his left arm is severed clean off. The severed limb flies through the air, landing with a wet thud on the arena floor. Mujin stands over him, cold and merciless. I'll take this arm as payment for the 17 years of grudge. The VIP box is in chaos. Dobo's sister screams, Dobo. Dobo clutches his stump, wailing. What did you say? Mujin sheathes his sword. Well, since it's the Qinghua Merchant Guild, perhaps they'll find a way to reattach your arm. He walks away, leaving the crippled genius writhing in the dust. The referee checks Dobo. His energy core is shattered as well. The damage is permanent. The Guangdong sect witness, Han Ik-gang, steps forward. Did you really have to go this far? He glares at Mujin. HMPH, what are you saying? There was a clear gap in skill. The match was already over long ago. He implies Mujin was unnecessarily cruel. Mujin stops and looks back. Oh really? If that's how you see it, I have plenty to say too. Was it really necessary to use the 7 wounds fist strike on the head of a 5-year-old child who knew no martial arts? The crowd falls silent at this revelation of the past crime. This is merely the closure of a grudge from 17 years ago. Mujin justifies his vengeance. He points his sword at the VIP box. From now on, you will have to pay the price for having provoked the Flame HWA clan. Prepare yourself well. A direct declaration of war against the Merchant Guild. Dobo's sister, eyes burning with hate, vows, HWA Mujin, I will never forget this matter. The spectators are stunned. Who is that? To think he crushed an outer sect disciple of the Guangdong sect in just a few moves. And that was a sword art we've never seen before. The legend of the divine demon begins to spread. A new martial master is born. The crowd cheers for their new champion. Dubikshin runs down to the arena floor. Why, young master HWA? What? He can barely believe his eyes. Mujin stands victorious, unharmed. Young master HWA. Dubikshin calls out, relief flooding his face. Mujin turns, smiling. Let's head back. Dubikshin follows him, staring at his back. Was young master Hwa's back always this broad? Later, they walk back to the estate. Chief Steward Mujin starts. Did he perhaps already notice we were planning to run away? Dubikshin sweats nervously. Mujin asks casually, about that. That Dubikshin stammers, fearing the worst. Oh, the gold I entrusted to you. Have you already spent it all? Mujin grins. Dubikshin sighs in relief. Of course not. Mujin complains. Looks like I'll have to stop by the Bangho sect again soon because of some money issues. These days, the meat's rather tough, he jokes, lightening the mood. Ah, one more thing. Mujin stops walking. About Elder Joe and the other warriors. His tone becomes serious. I don't particularly care if they choose to leave the clan. His aura flares up, dark and menacing. But if they ever try to split me apart from my 2 younger siblings, they will have to wager their lives. The threat is terrifyingly real. Dubikshin gulps. Why yes, understood. He realizes the depth of Mujin's protectiveness. The scene shifts to the hiding spot. A messenger pigeon arrives. The younger siblings are awake and furious. Brothers duel day? How could you do this, Tilda? Soyeon is hitting Ma-sok. This time I cannot forgive you. Ma-sok tries to calm them down. Wait, let me just read what came with the messenger pigeon. He reads the note, his eyes widening. Duel won by young master HWA. Escape plan discovered. Return immediately. Oh dear. The conversation shifts to financial matters and HWA Mujin decides it is time to collect what is owed, declaring the start of a debt party. He clarifies that his target isn't just anyone, but the corrupt bastards from the Bangho sect, deciding it is high time he dealt with them personally. Mujin tells Chief Du to rest and leave the heavy lifting to him, assuring the old man that he can handle the situation alone. Chief Du hesitates, acknowledging that while the young master displayed incredible skill in the duel, he is still worried about the risks involved. The chief specifically warns him not to get entangled with the dangerous Sozel sect, fearing the consequences of provoking such a powerful group. Mujin waves off the concern with a casual attitude, telling the old man he worries too much and that he understands the situation perfectly well. With the conversation over, Mujin heads out, instructing his subordinate Ma-sok to stick close to him from now on as his personal escort. Ma-sok questions if they are really marching straight into the enemy territory of the Bangho sect, to which Mujin replies that it's best not to delay troublesome business. They arrive at the headquarters of the Usuri business run by the Bangho sect, standing before the imposing traditional gates. Stepping inside, the atmosphere is tense as the guards at the entrance immediately take notice of the uninvited guests. Recognizing him, one of the guards sneers, mocking him as the vicious second son who was rumored to be a cripple, shocked to see him walking. Ignoring the insult, Mujin calmly announces that he has come to pay back his debts, his presence commanding immediate attention. Looking around the empty hall, Mujin remarks on the quietness, asking sarcastically if their shady business has finally gone under. A stammering lackey explains that most of the gamblers left to watch Mujin's duel, admitting they held betting pools on the match results. Mugen deduces that since they bet on the match, the house must have made a significant profit thanks to his performance in the arena. He presses them, asking if they plan to stay silent about their winnings or if they intend to properly express their gratitude to the man who made it possible. The lackeys tremble, sensing a terrifying shift in the atmosphere. The air around Mugen turns cold, filled with the killing intent of a true martial master. Mugen cuts to the chase, demanding to see their boss immediately, unwilling to waste time with small fry. The guards are paralyzed by fear, realizing this is no longer the helpless young master they once heard rumors about. From the back of the room, the Bangho sect leader, Ki Woon-jeol, finally steps forward, flanked by his men, asking what the commotion is about. Ki Woon-jeol looks down at them, arrogant and dismissive, questioning why they are looking for him with such urgency. Mugen stares back unimpressed, bluntly mocking the sect leader's appearance by asking what is up with his octopus-like head. Suddenly, a dark figure beside the leader speaks up, noting that Mugen has quite the mouth for a kid. It is the Death Black Crow from the Sozal sect. Ma-seok instantly recognizes the man, realizing with horror that the rumors were true and the Sozal sect is indeed backing this operation. The Death Black Crow steps forward, emanating a purple aura, asking Mugen if he has a death wish for interrupting adults while they are speaking. Mugen remains unfazed, smirking and provoking the assassin to go ahead and try to kill him if he thinks he is capable of it. Enraged, the Death Black Crow lunges forward with incredible speed, unleashing a wave of dark energy to crush the arrogant intruder. Mugen stands his ground, his eyes sharp as he effortlessly prepares to counter the incoming strike without flinching. In a blur of motion, Mugen deflects the attack, his hand moving so fast that the assassin doesn't even register the counter-strike until it is too late. The Death Black Crow skids back, staring in disbelief at his own hand, which has been cleanly pierced through by a simple pair of chopsticks. The assassin is shaken, realizing his opponent is not just some brat but a highly skilled martial artist who can draw blood in a single exchange. Mugen taunts him coldly, saying he feels nothing hearing praise from a wrinkled old man, completely disrespecting the assassin's status. Furious, the Death Black Crow leaps into the air, gathering dark energy for a devastating downward strike, yelling at Mugen not to get cocky. As the attack comes crashing down, Mugen simply sidesteps, his movement fluid and precise, dodging the lethal blow with minimal effort. The assassin's strike smashes into the floor, shattering the stone tiles and sending debris flying, but hitting absolutely nothing. Confused, the crow looks around wildly, unable to comprehend how a young brat could dodge his attacks so easily. Before he can recover, Mugen appears right beside him, his speed far surpassing what the assassin can track with his eyes. Mugen smiles chillingly, closing the distance in an instant, leaving the assassin completely exposed to the next attack. Desperate, the crow swings his arm in a panic, shouting at Mugen to shut up, but his composure is already broken. Mugen strikes decisively, landing a heavy blow that sends a spray of blood into the air, completely overpowering the Sozal sect expert. The assassin is sent flying across the room, crashing violently into a wooden pillar, the impact shaking the entire building. Mugen walks over slowly, mocking the defeated man by asking if the new hole in his face is helping the air flow nicely. The Death Black Crow lies on the ground, his face bloodied and broken, staring up in terror at the monster looming over him. Mugen ruthlessly stomps down, pinning the assassin to the floor, showing zero mercy to the man who just tried to kill him. The crow screams that the Sozal sect will not let this slide, threatening that Mugen's family and subordinates will be hunted down. Mugen leans in, his eyes glowing red, and tells him to invite the entire sect if they dare, declaring that in the meantime, the crow dies here. Realizing his threats aren't working, the assassin switches to begging, offering his wealth and concubines in exchange for his life. Mugen dismisses the women but pauses at the mention of wealth, his interest piqued by the prospect of money. Seeing a momentary opening, the crow tries to pull a hidden dagger for a surprise attack, hoping to catch Mugen off guard. Without hesitation, Mugen swings his blade, slicing the assassin's head clean off in a single, fluid motion before the dagger can even reach him. With the assassin dead, Mugen turns his attention to the trembling sect leader Ki, asking if they can continue settling the debt. Mugen lists the crimes, citing the 7,000 gold non wrung from commoners and the lives ruined by the sect's manipulation of martial clans. Ki Woon-jeol sweats profusely, terrified as Mugen calculates that the price of those sins is roughly equal to all his assets. Mugen looms over the fat leader, asking rhetorically if he understands plain speech, making it clear there is no negotiating the terms. The leader stammers, frantically offering to give everything he owns, including his house and businesses, just to be spared. Mujin decides he has heard enough. He slams his foot down onto the leader's head, crushing him into the floorboards instantly. With the boss dead, Mujin calmly looks around the room at the remaining subordinates and asks who is next in command. A terrified man raises his hand, identifying himself as the vice sect leader, shaking like a leaf. Mujin stares him down, and the vice leader falls to his knees, swearing to live honestly if given a second chance. Mujin accepts the surrender, granting him his life, but immediately demands a full accounting of the dead man's property. He interrogates the vice leader about the value of the house, brothel, and cash, which totals about 4,000 gold nyong. Mujin continues the calculation, adding the Manhwa sect's total establishments, bringing the number up to at least 10,000 gold nyong. He also notes the 500 gold nyong that was set aside as tribute for the Sozal sect, claiming that as well. Mujin adds a final ambiguous fee for emotional damages, ensuring he squeezes every last coin out of the organization. The vice leader eagerly agrees, promising to prepare the transfer documents and bring all the gold immediately. Mujin sits at the table, watching the frantic subordinates, stating that while he spared the vice leader, the others are a different story. The other sect members bow their heads to the floor, begging for their lives, terrified they will meet the same fate as their boss. Mujin begins negotiating ransom prices for the remaining members, turning their lives into yet another business transaction. Time passes, and the scene shifts to the warehouse where workers are loading massive chests of gold onto carts under Mujin's supervision. Ma-sak inspects the haul, his eyes widening as he realizes that each chest contains about 400 gold nyong. Calls out to Mujin, shocked by the sheer scale of the loot, asking what all of this is really for. Mujin walks ahead, unconcerned, simply stating that he just got what was naturally his, referring to the business profits. Ma-sak catches up, worriedly reminding Mujin that he previously mentioned the Sozal sect was backing this group. He reveals a dangerous connection. The Crimson Sword sect's leader is sworn brothers with the Sozal sect's Black Crow and Red Crow. Ma-sak warns that the Death Black Crow was a feared figure across Sichuan, and killing him will bring powerful enemies to their doorstep. Mujin remains completely indifferent, stating that if trouble comes looking for him, he will simply kill them all, calling it simple. Changing the subject entirely, Mujin asks Ma-sak to get him some tender beef for dinner, prioritizing his meal over the threat. Ma-sak watches his young master walk away, thinking about how the boy doesn't seem to think much of a man who is feared by everyone else. He reflects on the incident during the duel, wondering if this terrifying figure is really the same young master he once knew. Meanwhile, in a dark, unknown location, a mysterious woman sits surrounded by shattered game pieces discussing the job she was hired for. The woman, radiating a fiery aura, vows that she will tear apart everything Mujin holds dear right before his eyes, setting the stage for the next conflict.